Today I'm going to showcase one of the easiest, most reliable ways to consistently make money within Star Citizen. See, the game has had a bunch of new content recently, and with that we've seen some new gameplay loops added to the verse. With cargo grids and now the 3.20 patch cycle, most NPC ships have some sort of value within their cargo hold, just waiting to be, let's say, acquired. This was my go-to method to pick up a new craft within a few hours of grinding. Not only was I able to pick up the ship, but it also gave me enough cash to fully upgrade all of the components as well. Our goal is to maximize our time. To do that, we're going to take high-level bounties, scan them for cargo, soft death the ship, then board and loot them. The minute you land and start moving cargo, you're committed, and offloading the ship will take you about 30 minutes. So make sure the target has enough value for you and your crew. Oh, and that's another good thing to mention. This can be done solo or with other players, so do whatever you find the most fun for you. To get the best results, we're going to need access to ERTs, a large ship with size 4 or 5 weapons, and of course, some basic gear. Most importantly, you need a gun and a multi-tool. We likely won't be engaging in FPS combat, but it's always good to be prepared. In terms of ships, you have a bunch of options. You could run this with a Corsair, a 600i, a Constellation, or my personal preference, a Hercules. I've been running these upgrades with an M2 and it's been incredible. With upgraded quantum drive, shields, power plant, and ballistic Gatlings, you're tanky enough to take pot shots from 4 to 5 enemies while lining up your shots and just melting the bounties. You can do this with a stock ship if you're just getting started. Just be mindful of your shields and know that you'll likely pull back and re-engage if they drop.
Wake up, top of the morning, the bacon.
Again, you don't need to go with an M2, this is just what I've been using. Any ship with a beefy hull, good shields, and decent cargo capacity will work just fine. So with all that said, here's what ERT cargo feels like in 3.22.
This is gonna be the best day ever. You got me looking so fresh, I can't get no better. Baby, I'm a T-Rex, ready to rumble, ready to flex, I'm the king of the jungle. Gonna be the best, best, best.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Take up, I got a red fruit smoothie, James Brown bumping like I'm living in.
So that would be the one beef I've got with ballistics, and specifically the M2. It takes a few minutes to restock and refuel each time, but even with ballistics, you still have enough ammo to take down, on average, 3 complete ERTs, and that includes splashing all of the ships. If by chance you get into a bounty and none of them have a good payout, just kill the main target and move on. Time is money, so you only need to clear the skies if you want to crack open the ship and take its cargo. And a few bounties in, here's my first real big score. I found a reclaimer just loaded with over 170 SU of mace, only to have it drop within the armistice zone. Even still, I was curious, so I landed and took a quick look. Oh, for f***'s sakes. Roberts, you cheap.
This is gonna be the best day ever. You got me looking so fresh, I can't get no better.
So I got right back at it. One thing I learned was that to reliably drop planet-side targets into soft death, try to kill them at around 1,000 meters. More often than not, they'll survive the fall without losing any cargo. So I just kept at it and kept knocking off bounties. I did the occasional reload, and after about another hour, I hit another decent haul. This bounty was a good score. It had 3 potentially great targets among the group, all of which could be carrying illegal cargo. I ended up knocking out this reclaimer a bit higher than expected, but it still survived.
Target destroyed.
I moved in closer to scan it and noticed it was jammed with more maze, along with some other vice as well. For the record, I'm not a fan of either the reclaimers or Caracks in the loop hill for these bounties. They're a pain in the ass to deal with if you want to take the cargo. One tip for you, bind a key to toggle doors open and closed. It comes in real handy. So I powered down and went to see how tough the cargo would be to move from the reclaimer. The scale of these ships in the game always impresses me when you approach them on foot. The Reclaimers are just an awesome industrial design, but their cargo layout gives it some unique challenges from a looting standpoint. These ships are meant to gather cargo and aren't really meant to loot all of it with a multi-tool. This was likely going to be a bit harder than I'd initially thought. Remembering what happened on the last elevator, this was going to require a bit of a leap of faith. I did check out the front elevator as well, but I couldn't get under the ship. So the cargo elevator was my only way in. Hopefully this went smoother than the last time. Luckily it worked out, and I was in. Now it was just a matter of figuring out what I wanted to take, and more importantly, how to get it out of this ship and onto the M2. I was going to prioritize Mays for this cargo haul, and of course, I'd take a few crates of Weevil eggs as well. Mays, in case you don't know, is one of the better value Vice cargoes in the game. You can also sell it to the authorities for some additional credits. And that was my plan for this loot, to get as much as I could and then hit the spaceport and turn it in for a better payout. It's important to note that normally you take this type of cargo to a scrapyard, such as Brio's Breaker Yard, Samson & Sons, or Devlin Scrap and Salvage. The benefit of selling Maze during the Jumptown events is that it's a bit safer and not having to worry as much about being pirated as you sell. So here's another huge tip for those of you wanting to do bounty contract cargo running. It doesn't matter if it's a very hard target or an extreme risk target, this will work on anything that you need to get cargo out of. If you find a ship like the Reclaimer or the Crack, or even a ship that you're having difficulty getting the crates out of, detach all the cargo from the grid, then destroy it. As you can see, with the cargo off the grid, it doesn't get destroyed along with the ship. And in most cases, it falls right through onto the ground below. But overall, you're going to take 80 to 90% more cargo than if you just destroyed the ship from the start. This is super handy to know, especially when you get into larger loads of high valuable cargo, whether it's minerals, Quantanium, or even Vice. So I'm going to get as much of the Maze into the M2 to make this bounty worthwhile. A quick call out here is that, once again, the ship really doesn't matter. If you do happen to run something like the Corsair, you'll still be able to do the same gameplay loop. Your only limit is going to be you're going to be running with a much smaller cargo area. And it's the same for the A2, but the benefit of the A2 is that you can also bomb the sell point should you be selling this on a salvage yard instead.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
So as I mentioned, should Jumpdown be active, be sure to take the Confiscate Contraband priority mission before you sell. Again, Jumpdown will just give you an additional boost. I've been running the same method whether Jumpdown is active or not. I just find it a nice break from mining, salvage, or bunker runs, and I've been enjoying the combination of ship combat and cargo hauling. Alright, it's time to see how much this haul is going to bring in.
Stack it up, making that money, rain on me, making that money.
For the contraband mission, you can sell right at the admin terminal. Ignore the mission drop-off markers. From what I've seen, for the most part, they're not that accurate. Just head to the Galleria and then the admin office for whatever station currently has Jumptown active. And just like that, I've got an extra 27 million credits for a few hours work. One thing to call out is that wasn't even a great cargo find. I've seen some of these loads with 200 to 300 SU of Maze. The rates appear to have been adjusted down somewhat in the recent patch by the devs, but it's definitely still possible to find. So had we not sold that during Jumptown, that haul is still worth over 15 million credits. At this point in time, definitely still worth the effort.
Can I sit next to you? Sugar, you're the sweet sensation.
So thanks for taking the journey with me and watching the full video. This format was a little bit different than my usual stuff, but I wanted to share what's working for me, and hopefully it was done in a way that was both informative and entertaining for you. I've been enjoying the 3.2 patch cycle a bunch, and part of that I think is that I can finally start testing multiple ships, different loadouts, and overall I can just recover much better than in previous patch cycles. In short, the game doesn't feel as punishing. I guarantee you that this cargo loop might be further nerfed or adjusted, but I think it's been a great addition as it mixes up PvP and PvE elements, and it forces players to commingle at sell points. So while this was more of an intermediate guide, meaning you have to have access to a mid-tier ship to maximize your profit, you can take these principles and apply them on a much smaller ship. That's actually how I got started on it. Just scale up as you go once you can afford something bigger. So if you're new, start up on low-level bounties, rent a Cuddy Black when you can, and just start grinding until you get into the VHRT or ERT tier. So I hope you enjoyed the video and it helps to make you a few additional credits. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more Star Citizen content. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the verse. Take care.